Not yet.
Bellow on the bellow on the bellow. Bellow on the bellow on the bellow.
Yeah, the real shop talk. Just come and take a listen. Some grown men with unbiased and honest opinions, and with no agendas, so you just gotta check it. Talking love and life from a male perspective. We keep it authentic, real, no filter. Leave a comment, be part of the show. We here to give you 5 gentlemen's views about manhood, no doubt. This the show you've been needing, yeah, it's the real shop talk. Let's go.
What's up, everyone? What's up? It's your boy Tony Massey. The Real Shop Talk is live. We are here Monday night at 8 p.m. Hopefully you got your wine, you got your adult beverage, you got whatever you got. But tonight is trending topics. We're going to get into what is trending in the world, and you're going to get the views of men of stature, men of a certain maturity, intelligence, and whatnot. Well, no, I'm lying. We're going to act a fool tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before we do anything, I want to give a huge shout out. As you can see, there's only 4 of us tonight. Big shout out to our boy Derek Jones, Mr. Relationship Gumbo.
You better turn it up for my boy Jones on his birthday.
Yes, sir. The professor, Mr. L7 himself, is out with his beautiful wife. I saw some pictures on Facebook. They out doing it big right now. So I'm hoping he is not watching. He is somewhere, is celebrating. He can catch it back on the replay. So hopefully you caught last week's show. Last week's show was amazing. If you haven't, make sure you head over to therealshoptalk.net, catch the replay. We had some young ladies on here that just really set fire to the stage, man. Ladies' night was off the chain. So I'm really excited about tonight. Like I said, we're going to be doing trending topics. So before we do anything, let's go ahead and start our introductions. And I'm going to go ahead and start to my right. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Let us know who you are.
All right, I'm John Singletary. I'm the host of the Help Myself podcast, and I am responsible for making sure y'all turn up for Mr. Derek Jones' birthday, man. Y'all better go to the Real Shop Talk Instagram and the Facebook page and show him some love, man. Y'all out here slacking and slipping. Get to it.
Now, I ain't going to let you off the hook that easy, Mr. Singletary. You just had a birthday your damn self. So, yeah, big shout out to John. Happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday.
That's in the past. We're not
The past is relevant. All right, going right below John. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Well, I'm Tony A. Watts, host of Triumphant TV. Go check us out. We did a couple of programs the last 2 weeks. Really powerful stuff. Last night's show, please go check it out. I had Sherelle Thomas speak to some men about what they think about women are doing wrong in the dating scene. Crushed it. Information there is priceless. Go check it out. Over to Mr. Smiley himself.
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up? I am Gunta Man. I am the host of the Gunta Man Show every Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time at Rickhoven Gunta Jr. on Instagram. I'm also a relationship life coach, so I am definitely looking forward to hearing the questions that will be asked tonight. So let's go. Let's do it. Massey, on you.
All right. So as we always do, we do have some prepared. I got some prepared stuff for us, a couple of videos, some questions I'm going to put on the table. But if you're in the comments, and I see a lot of you are already, make sure that you engage with us, not just with yourselves. This ain't no bar. You can come here to see the talent and y'all talk to each other. No, engage with us. So if there are some trending topics out there that we did not hit upon, that you like to get our opinion on, go ahead and hit us in the comments, and we'll go ahead and bring that to the stage. So I pulled some videos, only 2. I kept it simple. And the first one I want to do is a little long, and we've already seen it because it was in the chat, but I think that it's relevant to the conversations that we have. And I want to set the video up without giving it away. but I do think there's validity in watching the video in its entirety and then discussing the content. And essentially, there's a conversation between a man and a woman, and the man is talking about how women speak to their men. And I want to make that very clear. This video is not about how women should speak to men in general, but how women should speak to the man in her life. Well, woman should speak to the man in her life. So let's watch the video, and it's about 3 minutes long, and then we'll come back and discuss it. Let's get into it.
What is wrong with me saying you need to do this or you need to do that?
Because that's what you tell your boy. And I'm not a boy. Regardless of how many times I messed up, I'm not a boy. Regardless of how many times I didn't pay it, I'm not a boy. And somewhere down the line, you've lost respect for me. And I can feel that you've lost respect for me. But whether you have respect for me or not, I need you to not get this twisted. I am nobody's boy. You understand what I'm saying? I think that has to be, you have to see that and you have to know that and understand that. So, and that's why, look, and some of your husbands that said that to you. I ain't no little boy. Because you sound like his mama, and you sound like his teacher, and you sound like his Sunday school. He used to this loud, dominant voice in his ear, and it's like, you better look, man, that I had to deal with that in the first grade, had to deal with that in Sunday school, had to deal with that with my mama, because a lot of us come from strong homes with single parents, and our mama is the dominant voice, and now you sound just like my mama. Learn how to talk to him. Learn how to rub him and say, baby, look, just sit, rub their head, baby. I really, really want you to do something for me. When you come home, if you don't mind, if you can get the garbage and take care of the dishes, that will really, really bless me. I got a lot going on tonight. If you would do, and what happened to that? And then once you get through, man, that man gonna wash them dishes so fast. Now, when you come in the room, don't have the little bundle on your head now. Have your lingerie on or whatever he like on, or don't have nothing on. Don't have nothing on but a smile. Y'all. You get what I'm saying? So learn how to talk. That's an art. To talk to your man. You just spit it out. Bring me some chicken. Stop talking so loud when you call me anyway.
So we can't ask for chicken or anything loudly.
Stop
it needs to be at
loud.
a different volume.
Do you mind? Learn the art of touching and rubbing and being soft. Some of y'all so hard. You ain't got no manicure. You got a manicure? Get your manicure. Get your nails. Have your nails looking good when you rub them too. Your toes looking good sometimes. Anyway, that's a whole nother. But talk soft. We want to hear a soft voice. Hey, baby. See, I know I'm in the house now. Some of y'all don't even, he don't even know a soft voice anymore. You don't even talk soft no more. That's why your soft voice is. Well, use your inside voice when you're talking to me. You always use your outside voice.
What is wrong with?
So, I have two questions. One, your thoughts on the video. And two, do you agree that volume and tone, which is what he was talking about, should be adjusted when a woman speaks to the man in her life?
Well, I'm gonna jump in and go, absolutely. And it should, well, I'm universal. Your tone should be adjusted no matter who you're talking to, because your tone matters. I didn't realize that for a while. Like, I used to talk rough to everybody. So I remember my best friend told me one time, he's like, yo, you talk rough, son. Your voice and the way your tone comes up sometimes, it's scary. Like, you got to really level your voice out sometimes. And I know my ex-wife used to say the same thing. She used to be like, I don't want to talk to you because of the way. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm talking normal. So the way you speak when you're asking for something, it sounds like you're demanding and demeaning. So I'm going to say to everybody across the board, watch your tone. The delivery means everything. What he said makes all the sense in the world. We talked about last night on the show. That's one of the things the men said the women was doing wrong. Your tone is disrespectful. extremely disrespectful. You can't talk to a grown man that you are in love with, that's your mate, like he's your son or a child. That's absolutely out of the question. We are not doing that. So I'm going to land right there before I get myself upset.
So I got a quick question before someone else speaks. This friend, is he from New York too?
Yeah.
That's saying a lot.
That's my best friend. Yeah.
Y'all are aggressive. Like, just meeting people from New York. Hey, what up? Hey.
Sounding like we always ready to check somebody. You know, for me, it comes down to not only simply tone, is to know your guy. You know, in order for you to ask something of him, you know, you got to keep in mind that the other person is not you. So no matter how important it is to you, unless it's being relayed to the person, they're not going to know how important or how direct they should be about the situation. You know, did he need to get on it quick? And then your choice of words, need. I need. Okay, wait, what, huh? Where are you coming from? Why are we not talking about this prior to you actually feeling like you said you need to tell me something? Like what happened to all the early stuff, the early stages? What got you to the place where you feel like now you need to say you need something, meaning that there's a bunch of time has passed and situations wasn't being handled, and now you are frustrated because needs sound like you're being a bit frustrated with the situation. So figure out what's up with you. Why haven't you mentioned it? Or have you been able to share the importance of whatever you want to share with the person in a way that the other person can receive it? Because oftentimes we want to keep it real. You know, we say, oh, I just want to keep it real. But keeping it real isn't always loving. Keeping it real sometimes is you just shooting it out the way you feel it. But if your goal is for the other person to receive it and hopefully be joyful to do something with it, it's to figure out, to pay close enough attention to your partner to know, how can I present this to him or her in a way that they will actually hear what I'm saying, because that's the goal, to be heard, and then get them to accomplish or to do the thing that you're looking for. I think another part comes into play with this conversation is the responsibility of the husband regarding the stuff to do around the house. Like why are you having a discussion about taking the trash out or taking out or doing that particular thing? Why isn't it discussed as this is what we do as a household, that these chores are not your chores and I'm just coming from work and then you got to handle this too and handle the kids and all that stuff? Why isn't it discussed and have, planned out that this is what we do to take care of the needs of the family? And it's not that you're helping me as a woman. You're not helping me. No, this is what needs to be done in the household. So those conversations should take place also.
What do you think, John?
I think it was, yeah, you should respect people with your tone. I think it's a little ridiculous to be expecting your woman to be like, hey, can you, sometimes you need to get the stuff done. So just say it and you just get it done. But yeah, you should be respectful. Tone is important. Sometimes you can't do it. So people shouldn't be in their own house walking on eggshells because somebody got a thin, ego. You can't talk to me like this. I'm grown. Well, then grow up, so it ain't that serious.
I agree 100%. And I love this comment. My initial tone is low, but don't make me repeat myself. And LOL, yes, I'm from New York. I agree with that because it's not inherent, in my opinion, that a woman speaks to a man, her man, in a soft tone always, because sometimes that's not always appropriate. And it denies a human being from having a human experience. I know for me, my son, I would tell him all the time, if you want to be treated like a man, then act like one, right? There's certain things that you don't have to tell a man to do. and his responsibilities, the things that he's supposed. I shouldn't have to tell you to clean your room. I shouldn't have to tell you to pick up your clothes. I shouldn't have to tell you to do your homework. These are things that are innate to you and your success. You know, don't you want to be in a clean environment? Don't you? And so the example that he used in the video is what I have an issue with. Like, I have to finesse you in order for you to do what you're supposed to do. And that's a very uncomfortable space to be in. I liken it to, you know, holding your hat in your hand. Excuse me, sir. But you know what I mean? I don't feel that that's a necessary part of the human experience. Why do I have to tell you to take out the trash, right? I do believe that it shouldn't be the initial response, though. If every time you speak to me, you're speaking to me in this very harsh tone, then we need to do some research. What brought you to this place? Because I know one thing. I would not have married you if that's the way you spoke to me. If you spoke to me like that from the very beginning while dating, then this would have ended a long time ago. So something's changed. Either I haven't been keeping my end of the bargain, something else is going on, you're overwhelmed, something has caused you to speak to me in a way that is not consistent with the way you've always spoke to me. And so let's figure out what that is, right?
A work husband takes out the garbage at work.
Say again?
A work husband takes out the garbage at work.
I mean, that could be. But didn't we say last week, though, about competition? About, you know, don't let that work husband beat you, man. You know, I mean, I just feel like, and then when he brought in the other part that made me cringe a little bit was, if you do this, then I'll do this. That quid pro quo. That always, that just doesn't sit well with me. I always felt like sex should be the physical manifestation of an emotional experience. It should not be used as currency. If you take out the trash, then I'll take off the bonnet, and you know we'll do it. That's called conditioning. It's the same thing that psychologists did with animals. You know, rats. If you make it through the maze, you get a piece of cheese, and so now sex becomes transactional, and it becomes a situation where if I do something, my expectation becomes, what do I get? Now I'm knocking on the bedroom door. Hey, take out the trash. What's up? You know what I mean?
Well, Tone, let's do this. Ask in the comments who wants to see their man do. Better yet, let me phrase this correctly. Who feels a little excited from their man when they come home and he's automatically cleaning the dishes, picking up around the house? What does that do anything for you?
Okay.
Yes. The answer to that is going to be yes.
Right. So
you feel some kind of way when you come home from work and dinner's waiting? So
listen,
what you thought?
We can't talk about me. I haven't had dinner made for me in a long time, so we're gonna stop.
Neither have I, but I'm just saying you didn't just pop up here yesterday, did you?
We're gonna stop doing that. But listen, what I'm trying to say is, I think what I get what you're saying about his how he talked about it. I think his tone and what he was looking for. I think the disrespect had gone on for a while. I think the whole thing had changed, had shifted in the way she was talking to him. And like you said, what's very important is you got to get down to the root cause of what that is. It's not only the garbage. The garbage, right. The garbage is the surface thing that we're dealing with. There's something extremely deeper for that. But if we go into the situation, having respect for each other from the outset, this conversation will never happen. Like this will never have to take place at all.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes we get ourselves into situations thinking that the person is going to change. You know, and there can't be a public relationship and a private relationship. And what I mean by that is I get that not everything is for public consumption. I do agree with that, but I told you guys the story. I think I told you the story of the guy at church that I thought was just killing it when it came to marriage, only to find out that he was the opposite of who we thought he was. And so there's this soft, you know, your hashtag goals on Sunday morning and on social media, but then when you get into the car, you know, everything changes, right? And so I understood the concept of what he meant, and I, you know, again, it comes down to ego, and I wish more women understood how simplistic it is to manipulate a man's ego. It really is. It's not hard. If you approach me in a certain way, it disarms me because I'm a man and I'm so used to being challenged. I'm so accustomed to being challenged. Coming at me in a certain way disarms me and kind of, takes me off my pivot and allows me to do things that I probably wouldn't have done had you came at me in a way that I expected you to, But having said that, I don't want to set a precedence that the only way you and I have, a positive experience is if you come at me in this very manipulative, stroking my ego way. That's the problem I have.
You're spot on.
You said you hit it on the head. Right
you're absolutely spot on. What I would like people to do is do some research, look up conversations about Louise Evans. That's Tony Evans' wife that passed recently. You'll find out she was really the controller. He's the face, he's the brand, he's the man, but she manipulated things around the house through tone. She knew how to talk to him. She knew how to do this. Like she has taught her girls how to be a wife and how to talk to your husband. She has made it to a point where it's not a demeaning situation that you're doing, but what you're doing is you're helping him along. Like say you come home from a hard day at work and the first thing you walk through the door, like Tony said, is rah, rah, rah. You don't want that.
Right.
She said, this is the way you can get things done. Also, there's times when you have to put your foot down for certain things, but it should not be your norm. It should not be your norm. So I think that's pretty impactful too, because we always talk about the submission thing and how women and men operate together. When she was the epitome of a great woman who stood by her man, didn't have to need the spotlight, but she made a lot of major decisions on what was going on in that family.
So let me ask this question to the group. Does the wife have a different obligation than the girlfriend or the fiance as it relates to what we're talking about? How your approach, your tone, your volume, your tenor. Does the girlfriend and the wife, are they held to a different standard? And anybody who
depends on the responsibilities. It always comes down to responsibilities. Where are we at in this relationship? If we are boyfriend and girlfriend and you have your own responsibilities and I have my own, it's a different conversation when you come by the house or wanting particular things done. You're not asking me those in my face every single day type of things where maybe if I don't listen to you, I've let you down in areas because I didn't hear or remember to do a particular thing where now you feel you need to come with this tone to get my attention, to snap me out of whatever. This time, make sure you get it done. So it all depends on like will you react, or is it right for you as a guy to respond with the raw back? Because if you're honest, well, the reason why she's speaking to me about that is because I didn't do X, Y, Z and Z, Y, X. So what has happened in the past to get her to the place where she feels like she needs to use that tone? They say it's three things that pretty much breaks up a marriage: poor communication, sex, and money. Those are the three things. No matter what it is, on the ins and outs and highs and lows, it always comes down to those three things. So communication is the key. It's the one that keeps everything else moving and grooving. So how do we speak to each other? Or what do we talk about? Do we dare to share what's on our mind with the hopes of being heard? Or do you just keep it bottled up? Because every single time you allow particular things to take place in your life or in your relationship and you do nothing about it, when you know it's against your core, it's you being a villain to yourself. You being a villain to yourself, because the crazy part about it, even if you didn't say it to the other person, you're still holding it against them. And that's where the demands come out later on, feeling like you need to say it in this way. So communication is the key.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I just knocked over the mic. No, we're good. Like that's it. Like, but when you first said the question, I thought of girlfriend, fiance, wife. She doesn't get to level 2 and 3 without the right tone. Like if you girlfriend and you coming at me crazy with a tone, you're not even really girlfriend. You side piece for real. Like this is hit it and quit it. I see you when I see you, because you can't talk to me. So basically, if we're even interacting with each other at all, you just fulfill a need. Like I just like hanging out with you, but other than that, we can't go further than that. If you can't talk to me, oh, absolutely not.
I love that you said that. And I think that we all need to understand that during that fact-finding phase, during that, that phase where we're gathering information, it's not just information about you, it's information about me. It's what do I want? What am I willing to accept? What's important to me? And if you can't change your tone while we're dating, then I'm not gonna wife you. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I remember dating someone and we got into an argument at dinner. And I don't like to argue in public. So I'm like, let's wait till we get back to my place and we can have this conversation. No, I want to have this conversation right now. Not only are we not going to have the conversation now, we are never going to have this conversation because this is a date, right? And what I found, the fact that I found is that you don't have decorum. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to put you in a situation where now I'm obligated to you, spiritually and legally, when we can't, we can't, you can't submit to the idea of us talking about this later. And I don't like to argue, and I think that we should make those decisions during the dating phase. I think sometimes we prolong, and I say we, because I think both men and women do it. We prolong these relationships way past their expiration date and then get shocked when we take it to another level and nothing changes. When you go to Kay Jeweler or Tiffany or to the swap meet or wherever you get that ring from, it don't come with instructions or a secret potion or a 6-digit code that's going to unlock the kindness in the woman that you're about to. That's not how this works. You are basically giving this person more power to be whoever she was in a bigger space.
Stop, dog. Wait, time out. There's no decoder ring.
No.
Ring. When you put the ring on, it go.
You can touch rings and try to activate all day, and a damn thing. Nobody turning into no eagle. Nothing is going to happen. And I think that sometimes we have this unrealistic expectation that my husband will be a better man than my boyfriend, or my wife will be a better woman than it's the same person. You've just given them more power, more access. You've unlocked all the doors. And now whoever they were in the living room, they're going to be that person in the kitchen, in the bedroom, on the porch, in the garage, everywhere. So don't do it.
Yeah, we've shared time and time again on this show that marriage is the great revealer. Is a great revealer. You can't hide. The person's in your face all the time. So when you're in the dating stages, even to the point of fiance, because fiance still is not wife, you can put an end to that. So anything prior to that marriage is gathering data stage, gathering. So if the person is not right for you during the gathering information stage, they're not going to get better in the marriage stage with the more responsibility, with the more pressure, because the truth is you're going to see why they speak to you that way when the marriage comes around, because you're going to see all the demons and stuff come out. You're going to see the whys behind it all. That's right. So yeah, dating is to gather data and to make a decision. But so often, like we all say, we push past all those red flags and we keep going forward only to get mad at the other person for being themselves when it was we who knew better, who kept moving forward, became selfish, saying, I want that, no matter what. And then you're going to damn the person for being who they really are. No, don't entertain them. Come to an end, have a conversation, bow out if need be, and then go from there.
All right, let's pivot. So the next video I have is about respectability politics. And the reason I like this, I don't like the video, but I like the discussion that the video could probably produce, is because I think even in this day and age, women are still held to a different standard than men when it comes to sexuality and, styles of dress and things of that nature. And I think that's something that's very unfair, is this idea that women are responsible for the lust that lives inside of a man. So hold on to that thought. Let's check this video out. And this is, you may recognize the woman in the video. This is Pastor Juanita Bynum. I'm not picking on Pastor. I'm not picking on the church, but I thought this was very interesting that she made this particular point, and we'll discuss it here in a second. Check this out.
And I can't even get to the concept of somebody preaching and leading praise and worship with no stockings on, with thongy, stringy shoes on, and your legs all greased up. What kind of message are you trying to send us? Because to me, that looked like somebody that's got a whole spirit that ain't purged out in God. And any minute you can just go over in a corner to a deacon and just raise your dress up and hit it right there in the corner because you don't even have drawers on. And I can't.
Tucker said that she not ashy.
First of all, my mother would have a fit if I left the house with no lotion on exposed body parts. I thought you weren't supposed to do that. That's crazy. And when did
to me is she said all this about the woman and ain't said nothing about the deacon and let the like man.
And
this
when
is
did
all kind of wrong. The whole thing is just wrong.
When did the Jezebel spirit become the hoe spirit? Are we just skipping over the Jezebel spirit and going straight to the hoe spirit? Like, I put lotion on my legs, and that is a signal to the deacons that I'm down to do whatever in the corner. What is happening right now?
You're not concerned about the deacons that know the signs? Like,
apparently not. Apparently not. It's not the deacon's job to see the sign, to ignore the signs. It's your job to not send the sign to the deacon. So let me ask the question then, and I don't want to pick on the church because I don't think this exists in just the realm of the church. I think that this exists on the street. I think it exists in schools. I remember when I was in school, girls had to, they pulled a ruler out, and if your skirt was so many inches above your knees or whatever the case may be, you had to go home or whatever. And the thought process behind it was, we don't want to entice the boys. So we were just these little pockets of testosterone, of hormones, of horniness, right? We just could not control that part of us. And it was not expected for us to. We weren't expected to control ourselves. The girls were responsible for not pulling that out of us. You know what I'm saying? So what are your thoughts on this idea that a woman's body should be either covered or concealed, not because of her desire, but so that she does not entice men? Is that fair?
Hell no, that ain't fair. Ain't nothing fair about that. That's madness and craziness. There's so many elements to, well, not so many. We'll put it, there's two major components to respectability. Politics. There's the issue of denying a woman the autonomy of her person and of her body. And then there's that element of control on the side of the men, without ever having to have any personal accountability. And that's a dangerous combination, somebody to have control, but yet they don't have any personal accountability. And so that's when you get into ridiculous situations like this, that it has something to do with putting lotion on or how you're dressed. And we really have a long way to go. We're still advocates of respectability politics. We just kind of try to put different clothes on it, but it's still a problem.
Absolutely. So I'm going to take it from the church route first. I think she's out of pocket 150%. I think that if she felt the young lady was dressing inappropriately, she should have pulled the young lady to the side and had a conversation with her. It sounded more like her man or whoever she liked was more attracted to the girl that got into her little feelings. Because the Bible tells you not to publicly disrespect another Christian. You're not supposed to do that publicly. It's something you do behind closed doors. Now, I can understand the standpoint of dressing in modest apparel so you won't tempt someone. But that goes for both sides of the fence. Somebody put don't wear sweatpants because I'm going to look. So if I know I'm endowed a certain way, I shouldn't be walking up in the church with sweatpants on. That's just the etiquette of a church. But in the life that we live on a day-to-day basis, I should be able to control myself enough. If she's doing praise and worship service, I'm not looking up and down to try to tap it later on. If the deacon is having that problem, let's have a conversation with the deacon as well. Why were you staring and not clapping your hands? Why was the saliva running down the side of your cheek? What is going on? Right? So we have to stop telling women that they have to control themselves because men can't control themselves. We are both extremely sexual beings, period. Women have the same thoughts and maybe more than guys do. So if you're telling her she has to suppress her feelings, but it's okay for Rick to walk around here, with this gray sweatpants on for choir practice, swinging it all around, and nobody saying nothing to Rick, then we got a problem. I think that video was.
You going in there like Kevin Hart's daddy? Hold on, wait.
I think we have a problem, and I'm gonna say this publicly. If I was her pastor, I would sit her down for a minute because you were out of pocket for making that video. That video was absolutely nonsense. It had nothing to do with anything. As a leader, you pull her to the side, you have a conversation with her. Now, if this is happening in somebody else's church, that's that pastor's responsibility to take care of that. If that pastor doesn't want that in his pulpit, so we got to really be careful and stop putting our own hurts, jealousies, and whatever publicly out on people, because it gives the perception that all church people are judgmental, and we're not.
So Love Tucker and Esmeralda Merlo are just acting bad in the comments right now. So it's not just a man thing, apparently. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, definitely not a man thing. But the point you're making is that should the woman have to tailor herself to accommodate the lust and desires of a man? I say no. I think that you should have the same rules set to both sides. Set the rules. If this is what works for you and whatever your meeting is, your community, set the rules. Here's a standard, but there better be rules for the men as well as the women. If you're going to set rules, there better be some rules for the men too. And, Esme talks about those gray sweatpants. Yeah, you definitely will get checked by somebody by wearing gray sweatpants, because I've had somebody call me out, say, yo, you can't be wearing those gray sweatpants, bro. You can't be doing that. That just don't seem appropriate. So
you walking in the church talking about all right.
You know the Chucky Ducky look. Chucky look. That's right. Sidestepping like Diddy. Take that. You know what I'm saying? Come on. But yeah, that double standard, And then Tony made a really good point where I wasn't thinking about it. Yeah, people will watch that video and come away and say, that's all church people. That's all church people. And evidently, clearly, she has gone through something. The person that was speaking, she went through something to make it register in such a way. Now, of course.
That's her whole story. That's Juanita Bottom's whole story. She got started with a sermon called No More Sheets. That's her whole story. So, but I mean, we talk about what the women are wearing or just what people are wearing, but clearly we have already discovered that in the church, what you wear does not dictate how much of a hoe you are.
There's definitely no hoe uniform. So let me ask this then. Let's pivot on the same topic. I've always been told, one phrase that I hate is, you can't judge me. I am very capable of judgment. Matter of fact, I am really good at it. Like, seriously, you would think I passed the bar. I'm so good at judging. And when it comes to how a woman dresses, and this is just being transparent, right? I won't lie. I can be a little judgy. And I can formulate some ideas, some preconceived notions, some unqualified beliefs just based on how a woman dresses. Now, here's where my hypocrisy, and I'll reveal my hypocrisy for the world. I will definitely be the guy that turns his head and go, damn, she's fine. Look at that, whatever. But when it comes to making that person, getting to know that person or getting past that, that part is really hard for me, because I don't think it's fair of me to ask you to change how you dress just because we're together. It's like if you decide to date a stripper, you can't pull her out the club now that y'all together. If you met her in the club, then you got to leave her there. That's until she's ready to end that or to stop doing that. But how you dress and how you present yourself is going to start to cause that little hamster in my head to start coming up with some ideas about what I see and attaching things to it. Is that fair? Number one. Is it right? Number two. And should we stop doing that altogether? Should we stop judging books by its cover? Anybody can answer that.
Judging books by their cover is not a bad thing. It's where you are in your mental space if you're carrying it past what's going on. Like, I could see somebody and be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And then say to myself, Tone, you don't know them. Why are you doing that? So now I'm walking away. I'm not going to say, yo, Rick, I saw this girl, she had her butt was all out, and I don't even know why she came to work like that. Now I'm carrying something that had nothing to do with me. Judging somebody, carrying to take it to Rick. So now me and Rick can talk about it for 20 minutes just because I felt a certain way about it that I wanted to judge that person. I think if we are human, we should be able to be in our humanness at any cost, right? But we should also check our minds to find out where is that coming from, and why am I holding it on for so long? It's okay. I judge people all the time the way they drive every day. You suck. Slow down. You suck. Why are you going so fast? I don't know what's going on in their lives. They might have an emergency at home, but in that instance, because they trigger me, I say something crazy. You know what I mean? So that judgment is real. But I think when you carry it past the moment, I think that's when it becomes a problem.
I think we all judge. We just can't help it. It's who we are as human beings. We all judge. The question is, do we judge and define it as in it is the truth about a person? That's where we fall short. I do life coaching, so I'm hearing all types of stories. And as they share their stories, thoughts are coming to my head. But you have to allow the person to speak their truth, to let them define what you are seeing as, oh, that's that. Nope. Just because I see it as that doesn't mean that it's that. And that should be a pause, a long enough pause in your thinking to say, who's to say that my way is right? Who's to say that the way I'm seeing is correct? They say if it walks like a duck, waddles like a duck, quacks like a duck, it should be a duck, but it's not always a duck. It's not always a duck. So the judgment is, you can't judge me and expect it to hinder me in any way, shape, or form. So that's why the statement should be like, you can't judge me. No, we are going to judge you. Everyone's going to judge you. But with your believing, that's not going to hinder you from accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish, because judgment is going to go on. But now, being the person that's doing the judging, you also got to always keep in the back of your mind, it might not be true. That might be the only outfit that person has, maybe because of how they grew up. That was dressing up for them, Because if you ever go to a church or an event in New York, and then you go to an event in the South, they get dressed up, and you just like, huh? Wait, that's dressed up? That's dressed up. You call me that's dressed up. So I heard, I'll use an example. I just went to a party just recently. Well, they said dress to impress. So I walk up in the place with my little bow tie on, my little vest, my button-down shirt, my slacks, not dress slacks, but those Gap slacks, those things that look good, clean. I walk up in there, I'm like seeing brothers in straight sneakers, baggy pants. So I'm like, wait, what? I thought you said dress to impress. There's a perfect example. What you call one thing and what I call one thing are two different things. So act accordingly. Think the thought, but don't let that define who you're thinking the thought about.
What they said. No, absolutely. I think we all judge. Judging is a part of our experience, and it's actually a survival instinct. I think the thing that we have to try and evolve towards is we make judgments all the time, but do we upgrade those judgments based on the influx of new information? And that's the thing that we have to do. I see a young lady somewhere and she dressed, I don't know, like a church woman. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, she's going to be square. And then, when I'm tiptoeing out of the house at 2:00 the next morning, I got to make different. These are just jokes, people. I ain't had no sleep. I'm
But you're making a good point, bro. Keep talking.
But you gotta allow new information to allow you to upgrade the judgments you made. But we're making judgments all the time, so it happens.
Yeah, I agree. And I won't lie, I've probably missed out on opportunities because I allowed my judge. I'll be even more transparent. I allowed not just my judgment, but my fear of being judged by others to limit interactions with people who probably were dope people, right? I remember I met a young lady in the mall in Houston in the Galleria. Bad. I mean, she was just really, really, really attractive. But the way she was dressed, I immediately thought, is this someone that I could bring around my mother, around my family, around my friends? And because of that, I did not pursue beyond, the first interaction. And, I've matured to a point now where I realize that everything ain't what it seems. And like you said, Rick, you're right. Coming from even Houston to Atlanta, which is still the South, which almost is parallel, you'll see women dressed to the nines and a guy has on a football jersey and, some boots and some jeans. And, we're at a 5-star restaurant and like, what are you doing? Well, my wife makes fun of me because I like wearing what she calls hard sole shoes, because in Houston, men dress up. You know what I mean? We wear suits and really dressy clothes when we go out. Whereas here in Atlanta, a fresh pair of J's, that's dressed to impress. That's dressed up, and it's a different idea. And it looks like the couple didn't leave from the same place, or he said, "Hey, get dressed, I'm on my way," and she totally misunderstood what he was talking about because they don't look like they came here together, But when it comes to respectability politics, this is where I've had to really check myself and stop believing that modesty, is akin to the way someone dresses. Because like John's example, his fictitious example, that buttoned up woman who, looks all modest and looks all quiet, that could be the very opposite. And then the woman who's got it all out there, you find out she's chaste, she's celibate, and she's very picky and choosy, and she's going to make you go through the process or whatever the case may be. So you can't always tell just by looking at someone or whatever. And when we as men start monitoring or start feeling like we have the power to monitor how a woman dresses based not on anything beyond our inabilities to control ourselves, then we're really exposing who the weak person is in that scenario. It's us. You go to a place like India, where there's more rape in India than there is anywhere. And these women are literally covered up. You can't see nothing. When I was in Afghanistan and Iraq, the women there, again, covered from head to toe, but yet they still have sexual assault. They still have, so it ain't just the fact that skin is showing. It's, as men, I think we have to talk to our young men, especially, and let them know that, I remember my kindergarten teacher, and I'll never forget this: keep your whole self to yourself. It was the best lesson I ever learned. You are not allowed to touch anybody, because everyone is supposed to be allowed to be safe in their person, right? And just because someone is dressed a certain way doesn't mean that that's carte blanche. So I want to ask a real quick question, and if you have it nearby, go ahead and break it out, and you can answer this question in the comments. What are you reading right now? Maybe you're not reading a book. Maybe you're listening to a podcast. And I want to start asking that question because I want to start promoting, knowledge. We should be reading for work. We should be reading for our profession. We should be reading for our spiritual selves. We also should just be reading. So what are you reading right now? Now, Gunner Man, you said you were reading Will Smith's book. Go ahead and talk to us about it real quick. You don't have to give a whole book report.
No. It's not a quick, but it's an autobiography where you're hearing his stories, his thoughts, his episodes, his journey to becoming a hip hop artist, his life in Philly. You're hearing all the backstories, and he's filled with all these amazing principles. So he's quoting people, he's sharing his own personal discoveries and words, and wow, I'm talking like wow, especially if you're of the age like 35 and older and you connect with that music. Boy, it's a journey, but he's filled with these amazing quotes. And as you read, it's like almost like you want to have that yellow highlighter to talk about hope and to talk about focusing on just the brick and not the wall. Focus on placing that brick perfectly and then go to the next brick and putting that brick in perfectly, not the wall. Don't focus on the wall. Focus on that, and step by step, as you do those things, you'll find that you'll reach your goals. So to me right now, this book is popping.
That's what's up. And John is reading Battle Cry by Jason Wilson. Now that's the cat with the beard, right? That you introduced us? Yeah. Okay. I like him. I follow him on social media now. And Tony Watts, he disappeared. What's that you got, bro? That looks familiar.
2024. I was told I can't talk to her until I finish reading. So I can't get on my show until I finish reading. You know what I mean? So
Yo, guys, if you don't think that we are dead serious about this community thing we're building, look at this. I'm feeling emotional right now, guys. Look at this. Oh yeah, I got that one too. We are building a community where we are supporting each other. If you don't think it's real like this, here you go. This is how real we are. We're purchasing people's books. We are sending people to see. Look at that. Look at that. So we're not just talking the talk. We're building a community. So as we do it, you got to do it too. Send people to Tony Watts. Send people to shoot photography with Tony Massey. Send people just to nag John. That's all right. You can just nag John.
Just get on his damn nerves.
I'm a relationship life coach. Send people to me. You know what I'm saying? Go show up. Yo, have you heard about Triumphant TV? Go check that out. Here's the link. Send it. Proof in the pudding. All four of us has one of the people that watch us and show up all the time. We have the book. That's how it is.
And it is a really well written book. It is a very immersive story. I haven't gotten all the way through it yet, but it's a well written book. I'm reading.
I had her on my show immediately.
I'm reading a book. So I usually read more than one book because I get bored easily. So I'm reading a book called The Delectable Negro, and it's all about consumption. Not just human consumption, although it does talk about cannibalism, but also the consumption of the the Black experience by white Americans. It's really interesting when you look at it that way. So let's see, in the comments, we got The Magic of Thinking Big, Esmeralda Merlo is reading that. Love Tucker is reading Lord of the Flies, which is a great book. I really enjoyed that. She's also reading Think Like a Monk. Oh, no, that's Lolita. I'm sorry. Lolita is reading Think Like a Monk. And then Dope Discussions is reading Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. That sounds very interesting. I love books like that.
That's a great book.
Amazing book.
A great book. It's a great book.
Oh my God. It's
that book should be taught in school.
Wow. I got to check that out. So yeah, this is really what I wanted to do, because I finding ways to use this platform to just spread ideas beyond just our conversations is really what I do. And like Rick said, using this platform to also open, because I would have never known Love Tucker was even an author, let alone a good author, without these platforms. So, all right, I got a question for you guys. I'm gonna throw it up here real quick. Recently, I saw a video of a New York City police officer. She's a lieutenant, and she's at a Christmas party with other police officers. She's married, and she's giving a lap dance with her clothes on, but a provocative lap dance to a co-worker who's also a lieutenant. This video got put out on social media, and eventually she was demoted and transferred to another unit, a lower unit. Other videos we've seen of teachers who have social media presence and or OnlyFans accounts. Some parent finds it, some kid finds it, teacher gets fired. Then, of course, you have the Karen epidemic, where someone is, stopping someone from going into their apartment or calling the police on someone for doing whatever. And the end result is these people end up losing their jobs. They get there was the judge in Louisiana. Did you guys hear about this? There's a judge in Louisiana who is dropping the N-word. Now, the interesting thing about this is she's at home with her family watching a video from her security system. And so her and her family are watching this video, and someone's recording them watching the video, and she's overheard dropping the N-word over and over again. And what made me immediately think was, who put that out there? That's not something you just stumbled upon. You know what I mean? Somebody in the house shared that video with the world, right? But now she's being asked to, I think she's going to, I don't know if she's going to be stepping down, but I know that she's on suspension or something like that. So here's the question I have. Should your actions caught on social media be grounds for losing your job or being reprimanded on your job?
Well, let's start from the judge. The judge is a whole different story, because you have an idea of people, right? A judge is supposed to be somewhere like in the middle, like you.
Impartial.
Right. So I'm not saying she has to have an impartial life, but we need to go now look at her record of how she put Black people in jail and what type of time she gave them versus what time she gave a Caucasian with the same for doing the same crime. Because if I saw the video and I was appalled, like, you're a judge, right? And you're right, Tony. That's in the privacy of our own home. And whoever sent it out, you're trash. But you can't. It's the mindset for me. You said nigger so easily coming out of your mouth as a judge. It makes me automatically think, what do you do to the people who look like the person you were talking to that come into your courtroom? So on that aspect, she's a whole different ballgame. When you become in that realm of employment and civil service work, you have a certain level of respectability that you have to uphold. Now let's drop it down to teachers, right? If you're a teacher with an OnlyFans page, your name should be something that you can never be found, because again, you're a teacher, right? Now, I don't think that you should be fired from doing something because you need to make extra money, because we know teachers don't really get paid like that, across the board. But at the same time, we got to kind of learn how to mind our business. When it doesn't hurt people, we got to kind of learn how to mind our business, because we're very judgmental on what things people do. But if we took a peek into our own lives and people was to put that on the street, we would be very uncomfortable. So I'm going to go back to he without sin cast the first stone. We got to be very careful, because there's some things like when a baseball player tweeted he's 25, and when he was 17 years old, he tweeted the N-word. Now we're canceling him, kicking him off the team, and taking his endorsements away. But where's the grace of him growing up? Now, if he did it today, that's different. But he's 17 years old. He's a kid. We don't know the environment he grew up in, any of that. Same thing with a black kid. If you did something wrong as a teen, now you 25 to 30 years old in the profession, now want to take your livelihood away from you because you made a mistake as a child? No, we have to really begin to critically think about what we're doing to people's lives based on mistakes some of them made. I had a conversation today on the way home. What we're doing to Cuomo is justified, but it's wrong, because we didn't do it to the 45. And 45 had a slew of people that said he did the same thing. And he's sitting in the White House. He's sitting home chilling. Nobody's trying to bring him up on court charges or anything like that. Cuomo got stepped down from his job. He should have, right? Because you should never touch anybody inappropriate. You should never be wrong like that. But now they're going after him to put him in jail. So I'm like, wait, time out. What happened? There's a line of ladies over here that was complaining about this dude, but we didn't do anything. So we have to become I think we really need to have some critical thinking on how we're judging people and at what level of judging them for. If they're doing something today, we need to process it as it's doing today. If it happened 10, 20 years ago, got to chop that up and just let it go.
Well, that's only 10, 20 if you only a teen back then. If you 40 and you doing 20, with the numbers are still like he needs to feel the pressure. He needs to feel something. My thinking is it's a balanced thing, exactly like Tony Watt says, to balance it out. But if you're someone of authority, you ain't getting no pass. Because I could think about how many people you must have put in jail that look like me because of that prejudice. And like, how dare you hold that position? But then what's the truth about the whole law enforcement and government system? There is pretty much no society, no state that doesn't do this, because once again, how can you have a prison system filled with 38.7% African Americans, where African Americans only make up 13.4% of the whole United States? You can't tell me that the whole government and the law system isn't messed up. So the problem with her is that she got found out. But how many other people in that position are feeling and doing the same exact thing? If there's a show that you ever wanted to check out about some of the behind the scene thoughts, go check out that new Kaepernick movie on Netflix. That'll wake you up, boy. Watch that. And the post-traumatic slave syndrome, read that book. It will blow your mind how these systems were set up. That's right. So school teachers, think about how many school teachers go into a system and they settle for less than par for the kids that they're teaching because it's a community of color and Latino people. That's it. Hey, I spoke to my buddy, Eric Watson, a brother who was worked in Rikers Island for over 20 some odd years, 23 years under, shout out to my man E. And he talked about here in Rikers Island, where the population of inmates of brown colored people is over 80%. Over the 26 years of being in Rikers Island, over 80% of the prison population just in New York alone. And it's worse when you go down south. In New York alone is over 80%. African Americans and Latinos. So you're talking about only a prison system for 23 years being filtered with only 17% of the majority population in the United States. 17% of the majority. At one time, remember, they was like 65% of the whole United States. It's less than that because of the Latino number went up higher. But you're talking about you only making up 17%? With 13.4% of African Americans make up 38 point, I think it's like 28.7 or some weird number like that. That's insane. I'll land right there.
Just since we're talking about books and on this political and court topic, Black Robes, White Justice. Black Robes, White Justice. Incredible book. Please get it. It should be in your library. It's one of those books that when you read it, it kind of paralyzes you to how our court system works. So just check that out. Man, the author is Bruce Ray.
Put the title in the chat, Toe.
Yeah, put the title in the chat. Now that's pretty simple. The Black Robes, White Justice. That because that synopsizes what it is. But yeah, you put a. So we went Karens, we went police lieutenants, groping, co-worker, teachers with OnlyFans, and the judge down in Louisiana. So that's a pretty wide. That's a peanut butter spread for sure. With the judge, you know, it goes without saying. And what we got to understand, man, is some of these racist folks, they don't realize that they're raising children that are going into culturally diverse schools and have a diverse friend set. And a lot of these folks are getting outed by their children. I suspect it might have been one of her kids that outed her because of hearing that appalling, like not only the use of the slur, but then she said they were like roaches. Like she went crazy. So that for me falls under a community standard. You know, as a country and as a community, that violates our standard and she should lose her job. With the teachers on the OnlyFans, you know, it's like you said, you know, they take some L's just so that they can educate our children. Me as a special needs parent, man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate teachers. And that also falls into the conversation of decriminalizing sex work. I don't know what people's opinions are about that, but that is a huge topic of conversation, whether it should be criminalized or not. So I'm not of the opinion that that should be the same. I think with the Karens and with the police dancing all on top of each other, I think that's up to the employer, but they should be willing to stand on whatever. You know, if I'm the supervisor, the boss, the president of a company or whatever, and I say our standards are this, and we're firing you because explicitly our standards are that you won't be groping a coworker, but or you know, if that's my reasoning. But if I say, hey, we'll have a conversation and you know you can rebound from that, but I just think you have to be real clear about that, because I'm thinking, yeah, maybe she shouldn't have been doing it, but I mean, I would hate to think, you know, as guys, you know, I've had a few dances with a coworker that might have been married years ago. You know, I'm reformed. and you know, it just thinking about it, I'm like, you know, if I was married and that was my wife dancing with somebody like that, I would have a problem with it, but I don't know if somebody should lose their job for that or get demoted for that. So, I mean, it's there's a lot of nuance there for sure.
I tell you, man, I'm so glad I grew up I'm so glad I was born in the 70s and grew up in the 80s and 90s with no. I mean, we had cameras, but they were video cameers. And
you couldn't download them.
Right. If you whoever hold the tape, that's the you know. I mean, I couldn't imagine being held accountable for things I did at Freaknik or Kappa Beach parties or Marine Corps balls or you know whatever. And I was in a mindset that I don't have now. But to be held accountable for that would be devastating. Now, I agree with you guys completely. If your character, if your job depends on your character and your character is foul, then you should lose your job. I don't even think we should have this conversation. And I don't care about your apology. And I don't care about what medication you were on either. I ain't never took a pill that turned me into a racist. That has never happened. The integrity is what you do when you don't think anybody's watching. Now, outside of that, I as much as I hate those people who call the police on people doing nothing, with Black people doing nothing, I really believe, even in their racism, that they feel like they're doing what they think is the right thing. And what they need is education, and what they need is, a conversation. Because what I learned about racism, and especially in the military, is most racism, deep-seated hate, is a result of ignorance. And when I talk about ignorance, I don't mean just not knowing. I mean literally never having the opportunity to be in the presence of people who don't look like your whole social circle. Everything in your world looks like you, right? And when you step outside of that, I'll never forget my my bunkmate in boot camp. He was from some small town with a weird name in Mississippi, and he told me, I ain't never seen a colored man up this close before, And I just thought that was the weirdest thing in the world. But for him, that was his reality. And so over the course of that 12 weeks or however long boot camp was, I dispelled so many myths that when I met his parents, they were shocked and appalled that he was standing so close to me and embracing me as a friend, because everything they told him about people like me, I totally dispelled it. And so did all the other, Black guys in the squad bay. And he had to come to the conclusion that I'm not an outlier. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not this, you're not one of them. No, none of them are them, And so for that reason, do I totally destroy someone's life because they didn't want someone following them into their apartment complex? They felt like they were, I don't know. But if it's malicious, yeah, you should feel consequence. Now, as far as the teachers on OnlyFans, here's my only issue with that. I'm willing to bet my paycheck somebody's daddy found that OnlyFans account, and he probably was a subscriber for about 3 months. He got bored with the content, and then he told his wife, "You will not believe who's on OnlyFans."
No. Let's go a little bit. Let's tell him what really happened.
Okay.
He was downstairs saying he had to work.
Yes, he got caught.
She snuck up on him. Was like, "Hey, is that Jamie's teacher?
Are you watching, Fred?" No, I was doing research. I'm appalled, baby. This is horrible.
But let's have a serious moment for a second about how we look at each other as far as racial things concerning people. Last week I had a real emotional. Let me just tell you the story. So, as I was doing my deliveries last week, I'm coming from a location going, well, if I get to this other location, I'm going to break my time and get back so I can get to the hotel. I can go chill. So for some reason, this particular road was just busy. So I got to the place about 20 minutes late. So as I walk in, this young man is picking up some flowers. And I was like, yo, dude, give me 5 minutes. I'm about to bring some fresh ones in. And he looks at me. His name is Cameron. Little white cat, blonde hair, blue eyes, curly hair. He looks at me and goes, yeah, these are for my mom's, man. She's in the hospital. And I was like, I walked outside and I was like, okay, so I know why now you made me late. And I heard the voice say, tell him I love him. So I went back to him. I brought the box back in, and he grabbed the roses. He's like, I wanted these anyway, because this is what she likes. So he came outside. I was like, yo, do you believe in divine things happen divinely? He's like, yeah. I said, well, God told me to tell you that he loves you. This young man broke down, cried in my arms for like 5 minutes, and said, I made an incredible impact on his life because his mom's is in the hospital and it's serious. And somebody to show him that kind of kindness in that moment. So what I've learned from this job is that we have to stop looking at individuals as a collective all the time. Like, we don't want to be judged for who we are in this skin, and Black men, we carry this skin all the time, and it's a burden at times. But I wouldn't want to be in any other position. But we also have to take out of our minds that they're all bad too. Because I have met over the last 3 months some incredible people that just from looks, you know, you drive up, it's got the they've got the pickup truck, you know, with the gun rack in the back, the beard, and you just looking like, hey sir, what's going on? How you doing? Hey, you here? Like, there's some Norm moments I'm having. Hey, Tone, you back? Blah blah blah. The flower guy, and it's genuine. Hold the door. Can I help you? You know, you need help with something, and it's not false. Like, because I can tell when somebody's false. I've been in the streets long enough to tell that. So I'm saying all of that is that what Tony did was he showed a young man that was told these lies all his life that, no, that's not how we get down, bro. That's not how we get down, bro. And I just want to just leave you guys with that. I'm sorry for turning the subject matter around like this, but we have to really begin to filter who we're talking about and start dealing with people as individuals. I'll end it right there.
Awesome. All right, I got one more question, and I'm going to pivot again. So you may we've talked about this before about the influencers that are out there when it comes to relationships and dating, the people who have the loudest voices, the people who have the biggest platforms. And there are, you know, on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everyone seems to have found an expertise in relationships and other people and all this other stuff. But there is a trend that seems to be happening, especially with young men of color. And that trend is a lot of these young brothers are navigating towards certain type of material, certain type of content. And I'm not sure exactly why that is. You know, even when I look at who's, you know, combating or offering rebuttals for the content, it's usually older men who are rebutting this misogynist and sexist content. So here's the question. Why are our young men, our being men of color, why are our young men swayed to latch on to the more negative narratives regarding women and relationships? And I think this is a fair question because there seems to be this tide that's turned where young men, and I say young men, I mean men under 30, are adopting and adapting to this idea that, one, they need to be hyper masculine, you know, this concept of the alpha male that we've debunked on this show, and that women are negative in they're negative creatures, and they have to be dealt with a high index of suspicion, and almost where these young men are given armor to put on to when they go out into the dating scene. Is this a reaction to what is actually happening out there? Is you know, dating of the battlefield that these guys are being prepared for, or have these influencers found a profitable narrative that they can push on a vulnerable group who may not have men in their lives that can give them a different alternative?
All the above. And I apologize for what I'm about. No, I don't apologize for what I'm about to say, but it's very important. We have left our kids to the wolves. Single mothers that are angry, listen to what I'm saying. Single mothers that are angry have raised their boys in a certain way that they wouldn't even date them themselves. So you've released these guys on society, where now they're talking to women and the women are rejecting them, right? You also have these women in the world who've been raised by split families. I'm not going to say single mothers because I don't want to sound like the onus is on single mothers. Families that are not together and broken. So you're not getting a true perspective on the world, right? You could be if you're an angry dad, if you're an angry mom, you are putting these false senses on your kids that only is directed to the person who broke your heart, not the world. Now, the person who broke your heart is female or male. So all of them are bad. And you're sending your kids out there with that type of information, right? They go out there not understanding how to date and what they're actually looking for. Because I asked the question last night with the men, what is love? You can't reference love because you don't have a point of reference for love. So if sex is love for you, I'm chasing sex. And if I didn't have love in any home that I grew up in, a hug, so we talked about this before as men, you don't have a hug or somebody didn't show you. Now, sexual promiscuity is my way through love. And women, unfortunately, see that if I give myself to you, that's a form of love. So there's two people not knowing how to love, get together, now they got that broken heart. Because if you trace back any Playboy, before he became a Playboy, he had his heart broken. Then he just had a trail of bodies behind that. So if we're out in the world living this way, now women are saying, I've been treated wrong for so long, I'm going to make it rough for you. You know what I mean? So now we go to the club. We got to get the VIP with the $300 bottle of that costs $57 in the liquor store. I don't understand you young people's minds, but we got to get that so we can attract the women to live this lifestyle that's not real. So now I've had my heart broken so much. Now you have, because you don't have a male figure in your life to tell you don't have to do that to have substance. You start listening to these internet people who are telling you what dating is and what substance is and what the other person has to do to make you happy or to make you whole. The other person can never do that. Rick has said it 1,000 times. Tony has said it 1,000 times. John has said it 1,000 times. You are in charge of your own happiness. And if they can't figure that out, they will keep bumping heads. So that's why we have this society of people looking for love incorrectly and then looking to blame somebody else for why they haven't figured out how to fix themselves. So again, this is why we do what we do, because once we build the village back and the older gentleman can talk to a younger gentleman and say, hey, nah, bro, that's not how it goes. Earlier, Larry was on. He's been on here before as well. Larry had a small symposium about 3 weeks ago, and it had some younger guys on there. And one of the younger guys asked us, he says, listen, I got a son, he's like 8. How do I, because I think he's sensitive, how do I deal with him? What do I do? And as a collective of older men, we were able to help him out. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what this generation is missing. They're missing that real mind that can say, hey, bro, you can't treat her like that. That's not the way, that's not what you're looking for. Or to say, hey, are you trying to be a Playboy? Are you trying to get bodies? Then if you're trying to get bodies, you're doing what you should be doing. But the only thing I would ask for you to do outside of that is tell the truth. I don't want a girlfriend. I just want to have as many girlfriends as possible. And the women who want to be a part of that will be a part of it. The ones who don't, let them go about their business. That's how we should be trying to raise these women and men so that they can have real strong self-love before they go out spreading false love. I'll land right there.
I think it's part of the misery loves company. You know, you get your heart broken. You want someone to back up the trauma that you experienced, to give, I don't know, to feel some type of a connection with other people who have gone through such traumas. Trauma bonding. There you go. Trauma bonding. The downside with that, once again, your one experience isn't the truth of all the experiences. Your one experience, your two experiences, matter of fact, your 10 experiences doesn't define all the women, doesn't define all the men. The question is, if you're going to find strength in leaning into the negative parts of your decisions. As they say, you're born looking like your daddy, but you're going to die looking like your decisions. And the decisions that you make throughout your life, if you can't take ownership of the stuff, the part you played and the thing not going right, or you overlooking situations and keep going forward, you'll never have the power to be in a relationship where you can stand strong and understand that the other person isn't your source of love. The other person isn't your source of happiness. The other person isn't your source of peace. The other person isn't your source of joy. What are we missing here? That you keep going because you're broken, because your heart was messed up. You going into the relationship hoping that they're going to be something for you instead of standing up in your ability, in your greatness, living and daring to go after your own truths, living and daring to pursue a goal and start living it at a younger age. Because think about it, how many people are in their 40s and 50s and they're still looking to find their job? So you're talking about people that are unestablished, unmotivated at times, or just not believing that they don't have the chance. They believe the narrative that their opportunities are not available to them because of the color of their skin. They believe these things. They're not of the mindset that no one can stop me from achieving that which God has sent for me. That what God has set before me, I can achieve, but I got to still do the work. No one's going to give. God ain't just giving it to you. He wants you to show that you can handle it. If you ain't proven that you can level up, he ain't giving you level up. He's not giving you levels up. He's not giving you to that next level. Prove. How he says, he who is faithful in the least is faithful in the much. If you ain't showing yourself faithful in just the bare minimum, he's not going to give you more. So in relationships, at those early stages where you're engaging in relationships, probably too young for what you're ready for. Too more than what you're actually ready for as your body type or whatever the case may be. You have to remember that those wounds is because you're still looking for something from someone else to be, for you to feel happy, for you to feel complete, for you to feel, like a man. You're thinking that you get that from somebody else, but that's not where you get it from. That's not where you get it from. You get it from, if you believe in your higher power, you get it from your higher power. You let that define who you are and how you're going to be and how you see the world around you, how you address situations, how you deal with situations. Let that be your standard. And from that position, you operate from a place of power. Because if you could go through a breakup and not see what you did wrong in that breakup, you'll never learn and you'll never grow. You'll never learn and you'll never grow. And I put up a post that said we don't have exes. We just have situations of people to show us what not to do, what we don't want, what we don't need. The truth is, if you operate from a place of power, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish in your next relationship where you're not putting the onus on the other person.
You got John?
I was going to jump in, but it's 9:29, so I guess that's it for me.
Man, come on, bro.
It's 9:30, y'all. I got to go. All of that, and then I'll add this because I'm believing that I'm hearing two questions here. First is, why are young men why are these young folks gravitating towards these negative platforms? And we understand you got to sell a negative. Like if you watch the news, they go out of business if all they talked about were high school graduations, marriages, going 20, 30, 40, 50 year anniversaries, birthdays, and celebrations of all the good stuff happening and, feel good stories. They'll give you about 30, 45 seconds of a feel good story. Then they'll give you a whole 29 minutes and 15 seconds of bad news. Because, they still got to sell Toyota Camrys and Tide and, banking services and all that stuff. So all of that stuff that's going on that keeps, that keeps people coming. And so people are drawn to car wrecks, so these guys get on here and they get toxic and they talking about women ain't this and that, and it's terrible, but people are drawn to it because it's bad news. They want to see the car wreck. So they're drawn to that. And then that's how you get, you know, if you got a platform like Tony Massey and you telling people how to live a better life, or Gunna Man, you know, to love yourself, radical self-love, or Tony Watts, you know, bringing the village back, or, you know, Derek Jones, you know, the right ingredients for good relationships. When you're talking about that kind of stuff, I promise you're not going to build that platform as quickly as if we got on here and said, yo, man, I don't love these. I'm out the door, you know, player. You know, we're not going to build them platforms as quickly. But another thing, you know, and again, everything that Tony Watts and everything that Rick said, but another thing is a lot of these men are not prepared for the fact that women are continuing to evolve into, and not evolve. I apologize, because I make it seem like it's something they did. It's not the women. It's there's always been a societal ceiling, you know, something holding them from fully, you know, realizing their power, for lack of a more eloquent term. And so now that as we progress into a time where laws and situations and things like that, where women can fully be women, men aren't prepared, because now you got to bring something to the table. So you mad because being a man ain't it no more. She can go get her own home, her own car, have a good job doing that. And so you actually got to bring some personality and character and all of this to the table. And
right. Emotional intelligence.
Yeah, you got to be a person of quality. They don't just go for, hey, girl, what your name is? I think you cute. They don't go for that no more. So so they're out here maddening their feelings, because the requirement now is for them to step up and actually be human beings of some kind of substance. And they upset about it. Like, because now they got to look in the mirror and be like, yo, man, I ain't shit. Damn, you know what I mean? So I think that's what's the rise of this. So if we can rail against this system where we don't ever have to look in the mirror and see all of our own shortcomings, then maybe we can throw the interference, and they won't realize that we just haven't taken the time to do the work on ourselves to be better human beings and be better participants in a relationship, because these women ain't going for us getting tired over here and having a family across town. That don't work no more, because, you know, these women got it going on and they are embracing it. And fellas is mad. I ain't mad at them. I mean, if you sorry, you sorry. So just be sad.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Singletary. The brother don't say much, but if he do start speaking, you better listen. I agree with everything you just said. And I want to let your words just permeate the atmosphere, because you're absolutely right. There's nothing else to say. When the game changes, you either attack the game or you change with it. And right now, it's become very profitable to attack the game. And like you said, in journalism, they have a saying: if it bleeds, it leads. Right. So negativity is the easiest thing to sell. And I can only imagine feeling defeated in my manhood and not feeling like I can talk to women, and being intimidated by women and being scared of women. And here someone comes along and puts these big, strong, evil women in their place on my behalf. Of course, I'm going to champion that person. They just slayed the dragon that I was too afraid to approach. So they're now my hero, and we must protect this person at all costs, right? Because if he goes away, so does the narrative that they're the problem. And then I have to start fixing myself, and self-reflection is a very difficult thing. Mirrors are bastards, man. They won't lie to you. They won't tell you no half truth. They just put you, anything you put in front of them, they give it right back to you in the same way that you gave it to them. And that can be very difficult to take on. Tony Watts, you have something?
Nah, you spot on, man. It's just crazy out there. I just thought of this one thing though. I was in Philly, and I was in a CVS. Guy worked there, and an older Muslim guy was talking about how the N-words were the worst in the world. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, yeah, you know, us, we the worst, you know, in this neighborhood because it's a rough neighborhood. And I was like, no, bro, like people are the worst. Like all nationalities do bad things. No, we the worst. And I was like, nah, dude, I don't understand where you're getting your information from. Like, do you go outside of this little town you in? But what hurt my heart was there was a 24 just became assistant manager. He's 24 years old, and he basically championed what the other guy was saying. And what really broke my heart was he said, because I told him how to support Black business, how to grow the community. He's like, well, you know, Black businesses, they have terrible customer service. I was like, how are you putting that on all Black businesses, right? He said, I would rather go spend my money in Louis Vuitton because they give me champagne. I said, but the people who run Louis Vuitton want to see you dead. And his exact words was, I don't care because they make me feel special when I'm there. This kid is 24 with a daughter with that mindset. I sat in the truck when I went in the truck. I sat there for like 10 minutes going, Lord, this load that you gave me is heavy. Like, how do you talk to somebody that's stuck at 24 in that mentality? Oh, the rapper around here, he bought some books and some new books for the school, and the kids wrote F you in the books. I was like, you can't just give kids books and expect them to change. If all they see him is on TV, he's just like the white man down the block. He's just giving them books. Is he going to the school? Is he reading the books with them? Is he opening the books going, hey, I bought these for you guys because I want you guys to be smarter? Is he starting a men's a program for teens in the neighborhood, and that he is there to represent that thing? If he's not doing that, you're not going to build a community. But I'm sorry, I'm getting, I get passionate about this stuff. So that really broke my heart that somebody at that age would think like that. So that just goes back to what we're talking about now, how guys have fallen into this false narrative of women have to do X, Y, Z for me to talk to them. Like the whole, the other undercurrent social structure that it's not simps. They could call something else that they think they just stop dating women altogether.
Oh, the men go their own way, or
yeah. Like,
no, you're talking about incels. Involuntary celibates, yeah.
Right. How do you become an incel because you try to talk to a woman, she wouldn't talk to you back?
No, they don't talk to women.
Right. Like, but how did you get there? That's the whole point I'm trying to say. Yeah. How do you get into that space?
The one that the famous one that killed all those people, they found out he never approached a woman. His issues with women lived in his imagination.
And that's because
he convinced himself. He is the son of a prominent television producer driving a BMW in an affluent neighborhood. You can't talk to women? But that's what you're saying is absolutely right. And we need to land, but once you get a thought into there's nothing more powerful than the planting the seed of a thought. And the idea that I can go into Louis Vuitton and be poured a glass of $30 champagne and then spend $30,000 or $3,000, and there's equality, or there's not equality, but equity in that because of the way I'm treated.
Right.
Not taking into consideration that I've just taken $3,000 out of my community and put it somewhere that I will never see it again, all because someone handed me a glass of champagne.
And I did ask him the question. I said, how many books has Louis Vuitton bought to school?
Right. Well, and do you understand that there are 30 people working in this Louis Vuitton? There are 10 people or 5 people or 3 people working in this mom and pop shop. And one of them is cooking, one of them is serving, and they're all stretched thin, and everyone has this demand. They want it to act like a chain when these people here working here, they are not getting paid very well because they're family. We don't take those things into consideration. And so, and when I have a problem with the McDonald's on 14th Street, all of my anger is directed at the McDonald's on 14th Street. But when I have an issue with a black-owned business, it's every single black. See, this why you can't support black-owned business. No, don't support that one.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you abandon everyone else. But again, going back to what John said, the more salacious it is, the more the more issues. This is why World Star Hip Hop to this day is so, and they don't even put hip hop videos on there no more.
Nope. Why should they?
Why should they? Yeah, those videos don't do it. All right, just
real quick before we jump out, look into the comments. Look who's
Yo,
there.
Derek Jones in the building.
Oh, what are you doing here, boy?
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, bro.
That's it.
Make sure y'all wish my brother a happy birthday. He is in the building. I don't know why he in the building. He should still be turning up somewhere. You should be drunk.
Up in them comments.
There should be misspelled words here.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It should be the drunky emoji.
Yeah.
You should only be seeing drunky emoji right now.
All right, y'all.
Always want us to be drunk.
All right, amazing show, guys. So if you're still rocking with us, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all of the comments. We are so grateful for our tribe, for our village. You guys are just amazing. You show up for us every Monday night, and we truly appreciate you for that. The show is going to take a break for Christmas, so we won't be here next Monday, but we will be here the following Monday. So from our hearts, from our homes, from our families to yours, we want to wish you a happy holiday. We pray that you're safe. Remember the reason for the season. Remember that, having time together, time can be your greatest friend or your worst enemy. It's all about your perspective. So anybody got anything coming up that they want to plug, or just, let us know where we can find you, anything like that? All right, then make sure you hit us up on realshoptalk.net. Oh, what you got, Tony Watts? You want me to put that? Oh, you're muted. I thought you had something for me. You're muted, bro.
Bring me up real quick.
Okay.
How do I? Okay, let me go back over here. Do that. Come on, let's go.
Hey man, we ain't got copyright to that now.
That's what's up. And we're all about celebrating one another, man.
I don't want to get in trouble because I know you're gonna have a fit about that one, so I don't want to get in trouble because you said
you're gonna hear about that. So again, so we won't be here next week, but that gives you ample opportunity to catch up. If you missed the episode, head over to realshoptalk.net. You can see all of the previous episodes. Make sure you check out last week's episode if you haven't already. It was fire. It truly was. If you came in late to this episode, it'll be available here pretty soon for you to watch on the replay. If you know about Shop Talk, like my man Derek says, don't bring one, bring five. Tell 5 people about the Real Shop Talk. 2021 has been truly a blessing for us. 2022, we are going to step our game up. And we're going to just continue to just elevate this platform. If you have something that you are doing, something you're plugging, some creative outlet, some organization, anything that's positive, because it bleeds don't lead on this show. If you're doing something positive, hit us up. Let us know what you got going on. We'll bring you on the show, let you plug whatever you got going on, as long as it's positive, as long as it's uplifting the community, and as long as it's within the vibe of the Real Shop Talk. Guys, you got anything before we go?
Yeah, just one quick thing. If there's a show that we've done that you like and you've been following us, hit us up on our IG page. Let us know. DM us there and let us know which show you want to see, and the show that comes out the most popular, we'll rerun that show for Christmas.
That's what's up. All right, y'all. Happy holidays, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Real Shop Talk. We out.